Following this afternoon's trade deadline, in which the Devils acquired forward Curtis Lazar. Earlier in the week, the team also acquired forward Timo Meyer. We're fortunate enough to have Devils Executive Vice President and General Manager Tom Fitzgerald joining us this afternoon. At this time, we'll open it up for questions. As a reminder, send me a note in the chat, and I'll add your question to the queue. We'll go to Amanda Stein, NewJerseyDevils.com. Go ahead, Amanda.
Fitzy, just wondering what it's like to be on a trade deadline where you're acquiring. I'm sure it feels a little different this time around.
For sure. The difference is you're targeting certain players with certain teams, and you make those calls and you ask for availability, assets, what they're looking for versus what you're willing to give up. And then you sit and wait and see if there's any matches. But I'm really happy with our team here, our Hockey Ops team, and how we strategize on what we wanted, what we felt was important, and really what was incredibly important for our hockey team, not just for today, but for the future as well.
I'm glad you bring up the future thing, because one of the things that you've always said is that, you didn't want to acquire people just for the here and now. It's about building for the long-term success. So Curtis Lazar comes in with 2 more years on his contract. What is that saying about what you're doing for where your group is at right now?
Well, I think we're looking at the big picture, because of our building blocks, our pillars, as I've referenced before, and Jack Nico and Bratter, and how we supported them with trades or free agency. And here we are. We get a chance to acquire Timo Meyer, which we spoke about last week. And today, when you look at really what kind of pieces are important for the playoffs, you're looking for playoff type players, and we really felt Curtis Lazar checked all those boxes: his versatility, his heaviness, his willingness to be physical, face off, his penalty kill, the small things that add up to big things when it comes to winning playoff series. We feel he's a player that can add and contribute that way, and like I said, we get to control him for the next 2 years.
How important was it to make these moves like Curtis, like Timo, but not disrupt what your team has built together throughout this year? And where is that fine balance as a general manager?
Well, you know what, I've said it before. I do personally believe that you build your team in the offseason. You build your team through the draft. You build your team through player development, and then you to the top with the pillars, the Jackson, the Nikos, and the Jespers, and you build around them. But it starts in training camp, and that's when the bonding starts. That's when you start building, that interior culture in the room, expectations, really what's important to each player, things, the culture we talked about. Are they connected? Are they committed? And you learn a system, and that system takes usually 22 games to fully understand and watch that connectivity come together. So when you do that at the end, I think, less is more. I've always been a less is more person, and it's going to be hard, but we feel we've got enough tools that can help educate any player coming in with how we play strategy, not just sit there, okay, we're going to watch film and, whether simulators that maybe a player can see and watch, I see where F1 goes to when we get into the D zone. So that's the next step, is really help these two individuals get up to speed as quick as possible, and understand there's going to be a learning curve here.
They're 2 smart players. They've been, in the league for a while now. So how much does having them help you with your philosophy going forward and what your group has been able to accomplish right now, and what's coming up next, not even thinking about, the here and now?
Well, I think both players understand the team that they're one's coming to and one's already here, what we are, and how we've been successful. We're a fast team, and that's just not skating fast. It's moving pucks fast. It's leaving our zone fast with pucks. It's hitting through the neutral zone. It's getting on teams relentlessly on the forward check, taking time and space away so we can utilize the gifts that we have and the skills that we have, and that's our quickness. So they know that. They know we're a hard team to play against because of those attributes, and they're excited to to add to it, not take away from it.
When you look at where you guys are in the standings, what you've done, what's most exciting about where you guys have positioned yourself, allowing you not only to make the moves that you've made, but also just for again, like kind of touching on what I said before, for what's to come, what they've accomplished?
Well, I'm really proud of this group, and we've accomplished a lot, but really nothing
Yep.
yet. This is called development, and we're growing. And the thing that excites me the most, and I think our fan base should be excited, I know our players are excited, is the window. Our window is just starting to open up. It's not starting to close. And we feel like the window can be open for a long, long time. So it's exciting that this is the start of the window opening up.
Thanks, Fitz.
Welcome.
Thank you, Amanda. Our next question will go to Mike Morial, NHL.com.
Hey, Fitzy, good afternoon. Thanks for doing this.
Hi, Michael.
So, Tom, I'm not sure if you mentioned it with the first question, but are you done for the day with regard to trades?
Yeah, we're done.
You're done. Okay. Can you offer any update on Meyer and when he might be available?
Sure. I would say, well, today he skated in a contact jersey. I think somebody might have tweeted it. I'm not sure how much contact happens in when he skates, but he feels better every single day when he's with our staff, especially our medical staff. Brian Smith, our masseuse, he's been great. Whether that's Sunday in Arizona, whether that's Tuesday here at home, whether it's on the road, all I want Timo to really tell us is when you feel 100% comfortable to get back to action, then we'll do it. In the meantime, we'll just keep skating his tail off and trying to make him puke. So he wants to play sooner rather than later.
And one more for me, Tom. Can you speak to the goaltending situation right now? How far off is Blackwood? I know he's on IR, and are you confident that Vitek and Akira can maybe carry the bulk of the games down the stretch if Blackie cannot go?
Well, I'm very comfortable. I don't think our goaltenders are a situation at all, to be quite honest. Last year we had a situation. We don't have that this year. I think every player that puts the equipment on will have a good game, and then you may see a bad game. Everybody does that goes through that. But as an organization, we're very comfortable. Blackwood is progressing well. He's on the ice. What's his time frame? I'm not sure. We're very comfortable if Schmidt goes in and plays games. And we're very confident, that Vitek, what he's done thus far, will continue.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mike. Our next question will go to Ryan Novozinski, NJ.com.
Hey, Tom, how you doing today? Good.
Great. Good. Yep.
Awesome, man. So I was wondering too. Obviously, there's a lot of UFAs, that are going to be off the books this summer. Just any update on any of their contract statuses, and did any of them come up in any trade talks this past week?
No, no, there's no contract talks. I personally don't believe that it makes sense to start negotiating as we're building towards the playoffs. Business will take care of itself, and there's a right time to do that. And for me, it's when the season's over. Things aren't going to change whether a person, we want a player to keep a player. From their end, I'm sure things don't change from a dollars and cents and term. So there's no need to. There was no reason to get going. Just let these guys play. Now, with that being said, if you asked me at the start of the year, Ryan, what would it look like with our UFAs? I would say the thing that would probably keep me up at night heading into the deadline would be being a team that's scratching and clawing into the playoffs, but what's the percentages you're going to get in, and then selling at one last kick at the can, right? Future assets. But a funny thing happened on the way. We actually won hockey games. We grew as a team. We were connected. We became the team we are. With that being said, when you look around the league, teams with UFAs, good teams with UFAs, they're willing to rent their own UFAs and talk contracts when the season's over, and that's what we will do.
And Tom, you've talked about the window too. To come away with this at this deadline and still have a guy like Alexander Holtz just must be very refreshing. Sort of what's the plan for him moving forward? You think you'll get him some more NHL reps this season?
I'm not sure about that one. We got to get him healthy, because he did get hurt when he went down with a lower body injury, nothing serious. To be quite honest, Ryan, we still see a lot of value in Alex. Problem, which would probably fall on my plate, is should he have been in New Jersey or should he have been in Utica playing? I truly believe that players can develop practicing every day with NHL players, the speed, the pace, the quality of players you're playing with and against. That's development. But you know what happened? You get on 13 game heaters, lineups don't change. And then you get on 4 or 5 game heaters, lineups don't change. And I probably should have recognized this earlier. And he's just basically become a victim of our success. So in my opinion, but we truly believe in Alex. We believe why we drafted him, what kind of player he's going to be, and we still think he's going to be that.
And Tom, do you have any update on Jesper Bratt and his contract situation, his talks? I know you sort of gave one the other day as well.
Yep. No, other than we've been talking with him, and we've actually we've put something on his plate. Just waiting back for a response.
And Tom, to get Luke Hughes later this season, just your thoughts on that and sort of what the plan might be for him as the season comes down.
Well, whenever his season ends, the plan is to bring him here to New Jersey and really get him acclimated to pro hockey. What does that detail? I don't know. We're going to be in a dog race for home ice. Does that mean he'll play a game or 2 or 3 or I don't know what it looks like. But the most important thing is getting here and understanding how we play, how we practice, how we do our off ice. Anything on the ice he can give us, I think is gravy.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ryan. Next question go to Trey Matthews, Locked On Devils.
Thank you. Tom, at the beginning of the year, people were projecting for the Devils to not be a playoff team, and obviously things have changed up to this point of the season. What direction do you see this team heading in to finish out the rest of the year and then come playoff time? Do you think this is a team that can legitimately make a deep run in the playoffs? And what are the expectations come next year when that time comes?
Well, I thought we would be a very competitive team this year. I didn't know how competitive. We've come together real nicely, and going in the playoffs, deep runs. We've really been an organization and a team that just worries about today. Like, worry about today. We play the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. Let's worry about that. Once you get into the playoffs, it's a 7-game series, and if you start getting ahead of the 7 games and looking down the road, it probably will bite you in the ass. So we would be game to game, when it comes to that time, and just hey, however, if we play well, we feel like we're a good team. When we don't, and do the things that we need to do, could be a short series. But I'm not really worried about playoffs right now, to be quite honest. I'm just worried about how the last 22 games we really come together as a group.
My final question is, I recently spoke with Bruce Driver, and he was obviously on a lot of Devils playoffs teams, and he said they were always underdogs. However, they stuck together. They stuck with the plan. So you said taking it game to game to try to finish out the rest of the year. Are there any specifics that you can elaborate on in order to just maintain that consistency so that way you guys don't fall into standings and just try to establish yourself throughout the league?
Well, I think we're a very good offensive team. We're a very fast team. I think we're a very exciting team. I think what happens when, we don't play well away from the puck, the games become track meets, and that's just a back and forth. And that's not playoff hockey. Teams clamp down. They play the right way. You've seen the teams where some games we've had trouble and how they've played, whether it's just, dropping 5 guys back and making us go through 5 guys, dump pucks in, not be able to retrieve it. Again, I talk about commitment. I talk about connected. It's not just with the puck and skating up the ice and making sure you're making taped passes. It's when we don't have the puck, are we committed to getting the puck back? And the only way to do that is to play the right way and play on top of them. So that's what I'm looking for the last, 20, 22 games. And we've done that. But I just want to, we all always want to see things more consistent.
Thank you, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Trey. Our next question will go to Christian Arnold, AM New York Radio.
Tom, appreciate the time. I was just curious if there was any update as far as any start or talks for Timo's contract, or if that's one of those things that you also kind of be giving him some time to get used to and then talking during the offseason.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'd like him to actually get to New Jersey first, get comfortable, get playing, and then, his agent and I will talk and decide what's best for the player and us, communicating wise, time frame wise.
And then just the last question for me. I was curious from a personal standpoint, obviously with so much movement in the East and a lot of the teams around you in the New York metropolitan area as well, making a lot of big moves. I'm curious if as a rival GM to these teams, you're able to take a step back and kind of see the excitement from almost like a hockey fan perspective of how exciting the last, stretch of the season is going to be with so many big moves and so many teams competing for playoff spots. If you're able to do that, or if it's kind of like, darn, we got to compete with these guys and they're only getting better.
Well, I'll answer your last statement first. I could care less what any of these teams do. That's not the way I do business. I'm not reactionary towards team A, B, or C doing whatever they're doing. All I care about is the New Jersey Devils and how to push this organization forward. And like I said, our window is just opening up. It's not closing. It hasn't been open for a while, like some teams, and then it starts. We're just cracking it open right now, which is exciting. But I will say it's been pretty entertaining watching some of these teams and how they're going about their business, but by no means does it affect our business.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Christian. Our last question will go to Dennis Gorman, Associated Press. Go ahead, Dennis.
Thanks, Pete. And thanks, Tom, for doing this. It's a 2-part question. First, just to kind of follow up on Christian's question, do you have a sense of what all the trade deadline movement is going to mean for the East come the playoffs?
What all the other Eastern Conference teams moves will do for the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, do you have a sense of how competitive it's going to be? Will it be more competitive?
Well, I think our division is extremely competitive. I still think it's extremely competitive, even with the moves. Is it any more competitive? No, it's been extremely competitive. The Eastern Conference, with the top teams and the moves that they've made, have made it still extremely competitive. All I care about is us being competitive, and that's the 20-23 guys in that locker room making the commitment to do the right things, to be hard to play against, because everybody knows what we can do offensively, but be hard to play against defensively. And we think we can have good success if we can do that.
Okay, and the last one, there was a lot of first-round picks that were moved at this deadline. Was that just the cost of doing business?
It's always a cost of doing business when you're talking about high-end players, and in some cases, second-tier players. It depends on the need for that team. But when you get to those players, and it just all depends on the supply and demand, what your options are, and if there's a limited supply, the demand goes up. So not surprising that first rounders are going like they go. I mean, you're talking late first rounders, so there are values. Are they any more valuable than an early second or a mid second? That's debatable, but hey, that's the price of doing business.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.